Hello? Hi, Dog. It's Dog. He learned how to use the phone. What? Yes, I did get your syrup. Yes, I'm ready for the collaboration. I'm so glad you asked.
Hello, Dog. Yes, I did get that bottle you sent. Blue cotton candy syrup. I've never used anything like that in a cocktail before, but you know I love a challenge. I'll let you know how it turns out.
Where's Dog? I thought that we were going to work together. Oh, Dog, what are you doing with my phone? You called Larice? And the Velveteen Lounge Kitchen? Well, how come? I thought that we were going to make something with that cotton candy. We got way too much of that cotton candy syrup. You sent them the extra cotton candy syrup? And then you called them to collaborate? So we are all going to make something with that cotton candy syrup? Oh, that's so fantastic. So this week on 3 Ingredient Recipes, we have a 3-way collaboration. Wow, that's the first time we've done anything like that. So we have connected with our friends, or Dog actually has called up our friends, Larice from Larice's Kitchen. She and her daughter Gilly make lots of beautiful recipes, just wonderful stuff. They have dogs and they have cats, and so they're sometimes in their videos. Yep, they don't co-host it because they're not dogs like you are. Nope, but they do help out and they make some wonderful stuff, so they're going to make something with cotton candy syrup. And then the Velveteen Lounge Kitchen, Kelly and Paul over there, they make like retro drinks and they talk about party kinds of things that you can make, like wonderful appetizers and all sorts of stuff. And it all has kind of a 1950s surfer retro kind of vibe. So I can't wait to see what they make with cotton candy syrup. So today, you know what we're gonna make though? Water ice. So you might not have heard the term water ice. Dog and I hadn't heard it until a couple of years ago when we went to Philadelphia. You remember that? Yeah, you and George and me and Peter, we went to Philadelphia and they said, do you want some water ice? And we're like, what's water ice? Water ice is it's kind of like a slush, but if you call it a slush, the people in Pennsylvania or New Jersey are going to say that's not it. It is kind of like a sorbet, only it's not made with a fruit juice. It's made with kind of flavored syrups. And it has a very distinct texture. It melts right away. It's very soft, and it's something that I've only been able to get in Philadelphia or New Jersey. So I think it's a local delicacy, or at least it's a local treat. Now, today we are going to try making water ice with this cotton candy syrup. Now, I ordered a case of this, and I thought the bottles would be this big, but these bottles are really big. This is the size that you would get at like a Starbucks or something. So Dog was really smart, and he said, we have extras, so we'll just send it on to our friends, and they're going to make something with this syrup as well. So for this water ice, our first ingredient is this Monin blue cotton candy syrup. You can use any other kind of syrup like this. Make sure it's a thick syrup, something that is kind of like yep, it's like a simple syrup. So kind of that consistency, because you're going to need the sugar in that. And we are going to use 2 whole cups of this syrup. 2 cups. The next ingredient in water ice is water. Now the syrup itself is a little bit too intense and you're going to want to get it thinned down a little bit, so you're going to use 1 cup of water to your 2 cups of the syrup. Now, one other thing, if you don't have the syrup or if you don't want to buy that syrup, there is another way to make it. You want to know how to do that? You start with 2 cups of water and you add to it 1 cup of cotton candy sugar. Now this is the same sugar that you use to make regular cotton candy. You would put it in a cotton candy machine, but it's just a flavored sugar. So what you're going to do is mix those together and cook them for a while until they turn into a simple syrup. So that would be 2 parts water, 1 part the sugar, or if you're using the syrup, 2 parts syrup, 1 part water. Either way, it's going to taste just as good. And our final ingredient is half a lemon. Actually, we're just going to use half a lemon's worth of lemon juice, or if you're using lemon juice from a container of bottled lemon juice, you're going to just use a tablespoon and a half. I think the fresh lemon juice works better, but you don't really taste it. All it is, the acid from the lemon juice mixed with the sugar and the water is going to give you that texture you're looking for. The only other thing that I'm going to say is this recipe does require a special piece of equipment. You do need to make it in an ice cream maker. Otherwise, you're not going to get that distinctive water ice texture. You can make a wonderful slush with this. All you're going to do is freeze it in the freezer, mix these 3 ingredients together, put it in the freezer, and then throw it in the blender, and you'll have a wonderful slush. But this is the way to make some traditional Philadelphia, New Jersey water ice. Let's see how it's made. To start out with, I'm going to put the inner container into my ice cream maker. This has been freezing overnight. You need this to be frozen completely solid in order to take care of the freezing process of this water ice, which is basically like a sorbet with a little bit of a different texture. In order to get this texture, you really do need to use an ice cream maker, so I'm sorry if you don't have one. I don't have a solution that works, although this would make a really good slush as well, which you can make directly in a blender. I have my mixture of 2 cups of the cotton candy syrup and 1 cup of water. I have thrown this into the fridge and I chilled it for about 2.5 hours, just so that's also ice cold. You don't want to put it in the freezer or anything, but you do want to start with a very cold mixture, and because the cotton candy syrup doesn't need to be refrigerated, that was starting out at room temperature, and the tap water is just about the temperature of tap water, so I wanted to make sure that is ice cold. To this mixture, I'm just going to add the juice from half a lemon. Now you don't need to have fresh lemon juice for this because the juice doesn't really add any flavoring. What it does is it helps to get that water ice texture. You have the acid in the lemon, which really does help. So if you have bottled lemon juice, that's perfectly fine as well. If you're going to be using bottled lemon juice, it's about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half. Just make sure you get a good dollop of lemon juice directly in there. And then there's really no need to stir because it's going to be stirred right in the ice cream maker. And now all we need to do is turn the ice cream maker on and pour in our mixture. What this does is it not only starts the freezing process, but it also gives a texture to this that is what water ice is all about. If you're just making a sorbet or making a slush, you can just take the same mixture, freeze it in your freezer, and then throw it into a blender, or you can scrape it up with a fork. The water ice is really well known because it has a very, very distinctive texture, and this process with the ice cream maker is what makes it happen. So we're going to let it do its thing for about 20 to 25 minutes, and we'll come back and show you what it looks like. It has been about 25 minutes, and I'm now just turning off the ice cream maker. This has changed in texture. As you see, it's more of a slush now. It's not as solid as a sorbet. The lemon juice in this, as well as the high sugar content of this, means that the water doesn't solidify as much as it would in a sorbet. Sorbets do have a lot of sugar in them due to whatever fruit juice you're using, but this tends to be a little bit more watery once it comes out of the ice cream maker. It will solidify a little bit more after we put it in the freezer, which is the next step. So now I'm just going to put this into a container with a cover. It's really a unique texture that water ice has. It's something that if you go to Philadelphia and you say, oh, I've had something like water ice, I've had slush, or I've had Italian ice, you are going to be corrected very quickly, because the texture of this is really what makes it special. It's soft. It's really hard to describe, other than it's so very soft, and it does feel like an extremely cold water, but it doesn't taste like slush. It's not like an ice cube. It's not like a slush. The closest thing I can say is if you've ever had a frozen drink, like a frozen margarita or something, it's very close to that in texture. And you have very little time to work with it before it starts to melt, which again, that's more of a feature than it is a bug. So I'm going to quickly cover this right up. And I'm going to shake it so it levels off. This is going directly into the freezer, and it's going to harden up for another couple of hours just so it gets a little bit less soft. Not much, but just a little bit harder, a little bit easier to scoop. And then we will serve it up and see how it tastes. What do you think, dog? It's very yummy. This is very sweet. It's very, very soft. And it tastes just like cotton candy, doesn't it? Oh, you want a little bit more? Here you go. Dog gets a little bit... You get a little bit hyper on sugar, don't you? Yeah. This reminds me of a state fair, or summertime, or maybe like the ice cream man, or, you know... What? But no, the ice cream man's not here yet, dog. No. Well, come back. The ice cream man's not here, but we have this perfect water ice. Yeah, have some more. So this water ice is definitely dog approved. It's really easy to make. All you need is a couple of ingredients. It does take some time, and it does take a specialized piece of equipment in the ice cream maker, but it's something that you can make and put in the freezer and have ready to go anytime you need a sweet treat. It's very sweet, but it's surprisingly light, and I can see why people from Philadelphia and New Jersey consider this a bit of their local delicacy, and they don't want to call it slush, and they don't want to call it a snow cone, and dog wants a little bit more. Well, you know what, dog? You're a very good dog. You really are. That was a really good idea, calling on Larice from Larice's Kitchen and Kelly and Paul from the Velveteen Lounge Kitchen. And we made 3 really different cotton candy recipes with the same ingredient. Yeah, so people can try out the fudge that Larice made. And if they're feeling like having an adult beverage, they can try the cocktail that Kelly and Paul made on the Velveteen Lounge Kitchen. Yep. And if they feel like a nice, cool, sweet treat that comes out of the freezer, they can try the water ice from us. It just goes to prove that you can do a whole bunch of different things with the exact same ingredient. And also the collaboration and friendship are really good because they're really good friends of ours. Yep. So did you have a good time being back here? Oh, great. What can people do if they had a good time watching? Yep, they can subscribe. If you subscribe down below, you get informed whenever we have a new show up. We have a whole bunch of new shows. What kind of shows do we have on this channel? The self-esteem. George and Dog talk about having good self-esteem, and they talk about that every Sunday. We also have another dog on this channel, don't we? Yeah, Sullivan Spaniel's here every Wednesday, and he talks about trying to become really, really famous. Yep. And then what do we do on Mondays? The live stream. Yeah, on Monday nights we live stream, we make puppets, we talk about puppetry and all sorts of things, and sometimes we just like to hang out with the people who watch the show. So definitely subscribe and then hit the bell, which will also let you know. Ding! That'll let you know when people have, when any channel has updated and put up a new show. So, you know what? I think there's a little bit more water ice left. Alright, so let's say goodbye to everybody. Definitely check out, oh, you know, what? Check out Larice's channel. Check out the Velveteen Lounge Kitchen, because they did a lot of good work for us. And let's go get some more water ice. Boy, that was good. You are a very, you know what? You are a very good dog. You know why? You came up with a really good idea. When we got way too much of the cotton candy syrup, you called Larice and Kelly and Paul from Velveteen, one more time. Sorry about that. You're still a good dog, though. Okay. You coming back?